Hello.
Hello, am I speaking with Richard Robson?
You are, yes.
Professor Robson, this is Adam Smith calling from NobelPrize.org. First of all, congratulations on the Nobel Prize.
Thank you.
It is a day in which the world gets to celebrate chemistry and to reflect a little bit on the beauty of chemistry. And that's a lovely thing.
I agree, yeah.
And how do you feel about the news of the prize?
Well, there are upsides and downsides, and I'm quite old now, and handling all the nonsense that's going to happen is going to be hard work.
By nonsense, you mean...
The facility with words that I had a quarter of a century ago has disappeared, so it's a bit of a struggle.
Yeah.
Anyhow, this is a taste of what's to come.
What brought you to chemistry in the first place? What was it that made you a chemist?
Gee, that's a difficult question. I can't say I was particularly thrilled by it at the time. I always felt sort of second-rate for not being a mathematician. I always thought of the mathematics as the highest human activities. So, yeah, I sort of drifted into it. I couldn't think of anything better to do.
Well, it seemed to work out.
Yeah, it may very well not have done as well. But anyhow, that's life, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed. And I'm very struck by the fact that you say that everything that has arisen in this field was predictable in a way from your very...
Well, not the details, but the general sort of development. Yes, certainly, it was very simple-minded stuff. It really was.
Still, it was a leap to think that you could build these net-like structures.
Yes, and I must say that some people thought at the time, that's in the middle 80s, it was a whole load of rubbish. Anyhow, it didn't turn out that way.
And it was teaching. It was teaching molecular structure and building models.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. My job was to construct models of basic inorganic structures like sodium chloride and diamond and so on. And so I literally sat down with log tables and had to figure out all the angles that the workshop... We had a workshop in those days of 6 or 7 men. Workshops nowadays in chemistry and physics departments have disappeared. So I literally, with log tables, calculated the angles at the workshop. Very skilled men had to drill the holes into these wooden balls and then construct a model. And at the time, I'd been playing with organic ligands that bind 2 metal ions in close proximity, but leaving a gap where interesting things may or may not happen. Well, might or might not have happened. And also ligands that bound 4 metal ions in very close proximity, and what effect would they have on species that became attached to them. So all of that was at the back of my mind, and as I was constructing these models, plugging metal rods of clearly defined dimensions into wooden balls with accurately drilled holes, the thought arose, what if we used molecules in place of the balls and chemical bonds in place of the rods? And everything else followed from that. That was in 1974. And so I had that idea and scribbled a few things down and then forgot about it until that area of chemistry came up in next year's lectures. For a couple of lectures we talk about solid-state structures. And each year I think that was not a bad idea. I ought to do something about it. But I didn't for the best part of 10 years. And then in somewhat of a state of desperation, I did a lot of bench work myself. I started to try to make things that might polymerize with metal ions into structures in the middle 80s. And the whole thing started to look very promising, but it really was very common sense.
It's fascinating story, and also very interesting that you didn't let the thing drop. It's easy to have an idea and then not do anything with it, and even though it lay dormant for a while.
Well, I kept being reminded of it each year when these lectures came up. I thought, I think I really ought to follow that up.
Well,
and eventually I did. And
how good that you did, and what it's inspired. And again, coming back to this, although you don't seem to be surprised by how it took off, it is...
Not at all. It was obvious it was going to happen.
It's a different view. It's a lovely, refreshing view of innovation.
Yeah, it needs a sort of obsessive individual neglecting other responsibilities, and that's the way I was.
That does seem to be a common feature of laureates, doesn't it? Or great scientists generally.
Yeah.
People who achieve great things. Let's expand it to that. Some ability to shut other things out.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's quite right.
Would you characterize yourself as the kind of the epitome of the lone scientist then?
Yes, more or less, I think I would, yeah. That's not to say I haven't had people working with me who have been absolutely invaluable. I mean, I just mix things up and get compounds, but the real science is numbers and angles and bond distances and things like that are things that I'd never achieved myself. And so the crystallographers I work with, Bernard Hoskins in particular, but Brendan Abrahams more recently, have given the whole area respectability that it wouldn't have had. Mm. And they're just nice guys as well, so that was good.
Yes, well, hopefully the coming weeks will introduce you to some new nice people. So it'll work out nicely. I simply love your understatement that you just mix things up and get compounds.
It's the truth. That's what I do, yeah. And lots of them don't work.
Yes.
So you say hooray when they do.
I suppose that's what young people have to learn in science. It sounds like your celebrations of this will be modest, but do you...
I think that would be an understatement, yes. I'm now 88, and, the people I knew pretty well when I was 25, 30 years ago are all dead or close to it, like myself.
It reminds me of a statement Noel Coward made once that somebody, I think it was Rafe Richardson, was saying to him, "Aren't you sad that all our friends are dying?" And Noel Coward said, "Well, personally, dear boy, I'm delighted if my friends make it through lunch."
Yeah, I liked Noel Coward's stuff. Yeah.
Well, I wish you a lovely evening in Melbourne. Despite
it's a late evening now, yes.
Thank you very, very much for talking to me now. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you for calling. And yes, we may meet in the future.
I very much hope so.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.